Conversations That Matter is a partner program for the Center for Dialogue at Simon Fraser University. The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you.
Welcome.
And nice to be here.
So, how old are you?
93rd year.
93rd. You're into your 93rd, or you've completed 93 years?
No, into 93.
How'd you get here? Because you look remarkably good.
With great difficulty. Luckily I had, I think, good genes and maybe good luck. Not get killed in a car accident or develop a nefarious disease at 25 years of age. So you need a lot of good luck to get there, and you need mostly in the 2016 good common sense, and unfortunately that's become an uncommon commodity.
How come?
Big time.
Why?
Well, because we've got three major diseases right now that are going to bankrupt the medical care system.
Diabetes being one.
Obesity being the first one.
Ah.
And obesity leads to type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
And if you have type 2 diabetes, you've got a 50% chance of dying of a coronary. When I went to the Harvard Medical School and graduated, 6 years ago, 5% of the people had type 2 diabetes, and 95% genetic, bad genes. Now it's gone from, just in that short period of time, 5% to 95% type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
So it's we're leading a pretty, questionable lifestyle. And the results of I saw the other day that the World Health Organization, that 1 in 14 people in North America now have type 2 diabetes. And if you're over the age of 65, 1 in 4. That's
1 in
time.
4.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not just having obesity and diabetes. It's the complications associated with it. Type 2 diabetes, more likely going blind.
Yeah.
Kidney failure.
Yeah.
In the province of Saskatchewan, most of the bilateral amputation of the legs are on Aboriginal patients.
With type 2 diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes, yeah.
So type 2 diabetes leads to quite a variety of other ailments and is a big challenge.
A huge challenge. If you have type 2 diabetes, you're more likely to lose your vision, kidney failure, and in the province of Saskatchewan, 50% at least of the people who have the bilateral amputation of the legs are Aboriginal patients. Lousy lifestyle, type 2 diabetes, and there you have it.
So, part of the epidemic around obesity and type 2 diabetes is so much of the fact that we moved to a so-called low-fat diet and we're heavier on carb intakes, and we create that whole cycle. So, that's another way of saying watch what you put in your mouth.
Basically people are having too many calories of all kinds. It's not, too much fat, too much sugar, too much protein. Sugar is the really big killer, because if you eat a lot of sugar, your cholesterol level goes up. Decrease the sugar, it goes down.
Well, and refined sugar is deadly for your brain too.
Yeah. I wrote a column on that about 40 years ago and called it the white devil. The sugar industry sued me.
They sued you?
They didn't like it. Yeah. They complained to the College of Physicians and Surgeons. And I had to go before the college and explain my rationale. The final verdict was I was okay, but it was a lot of work, a lot of trouble.
Because you spoke the truth.
I'm not the most beloved physician in Canada as it relates to the medical establishment, because I've taken contrary views with medical matters.
Do you think that the fact that you're a physician and surgeon contributed to your well-being, or did it not make any difference?
It made a lot of difference.
Yeah.
But I think the main reason we're here today is because I interviewed Linus Pauling.
Because of Linus Pauling?
Yeah,
the man who told us about why we need to consume vitamin C as a supplement.
Right, and two-time Nobel Prize winner, so he was no dummy.
No.
I interviewed him about 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And the first thing he told me, which my esteemed professors at the Harvard Medical School hadn't told me, that animals have always made vitamin C And humans lost that ability by a genetic mishap, eons and eons ago. And it was his theory at that time that because vitamin C is needed for the manufacture of collagen, and collagen is the glue that holds cells together, that inadequate amounts of vitamin C meant inadequate collagen. And when your heart is beating 100,000 times every 24 hours, microscopic cracks occur in the coronary arteries, and that's where a blood clot occurs, and you maybe die. So I listened to him, but I didn't do anything about it.
Because you would have been in your 60s then.
Yeah, that's right. And then I had a heart attack at 74. And then I had the biggest decision of my life. Should I take my cardiologist's advice? And every cardiologist I had literally, interviewed over the years to take cholesterol-lowering medication.
Well, that is the standard treatment in North America.
Well, it's the be-all and end-all with the medical establishment. I decided that cholesterol-lowering drugs were a money-making deal. Every year, they make $30 billion from it. To make a long story short, I decided, against great advice of my physicians, to take vitamin C and lysine. So I started taking 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C, 5,000 lysine 18 years ago, and when they said I'd be dead in 2 years, I'm still here 18 years later.
How many units of vitamin C?
10,000. 10,000. But in the meantime, that amount is too much. But I hate to change it now because I'm still around. But
what do you mean it's too much? Because I hear people say, well, you shouldn't ever have any more than 1,000 milligrams, or depending on body weight and so on.
Well, that goes back to a situation I ran into about 3 years ago. I read in an obscure medical journal that was a Dr. Sidney Bush in Hull, England, who had done an interesting experiment as an optometrist. He was fitting people with contact lens, and he always was worried about infection underneath the lens. Can be very, very serious. So he was also a student of Linus Pauling. And he said, I wonder if I give 6,000 milligrams of C and 5,000 of lysine, what will happen? So, but the important thing he did, he took a picture of the back part of the retina, the only part of the body where you can see arteries and veins. And a year later, he took another photo, and during that time, he found out no infection. But the most important, monumental finding was that hardening of the arteries, or atherosclerosis, was fading away. Should get the Nobel Prize for it. It was a huge finding. So the first time in history, large doses of vitamin C and lysine can not only prevent hardening of the arteries or atherosclerosis, but can reverse it. So when I started taking 10,000 milligrams, that was long before I knew about this experiment. Why did I take 10,000? Because Linus Pauling was taking 20,000 milligrams a day and 5,000 of lysine. So I split it in half. And at that point, I was following 20 tablets of vitamin C and 10 of lysine every damn day, and they didn't like it. And I would have been doing that up until now if I hadn't ran into Preferred Nutrition, the president of Preferred Nutrition, who said, I think we could make a powder of that. And now I swallow 5 scoops of medi-c plus a day, and a lot easier, 2 in the morning, 1 at noon, and 2 at night. But that gives me 10,000. But really, I'm really taking about 4,000 more than I need.
I got to get you to hang on for just 1 second while we take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Conversations That Matter is a not-for-profit program made possible thanks to the charitable support of the following and from viewers like you. Please visit conversationsthatmatter.tv and help us to continue to produce this program.
So, okay, I understand vitamin C.
Yes.
Why lysine?
Lysine
What does it do?
Lysine is an amino acid. And if you're building a house with concrete, you put steel rods in the cement to make the concrete stronger. The addition of amino acid like lysine makes the arterial wall stronger, so you get a double benefit. The combination not only keeps the arteries open from atherosclerosis, but it also keeps the arterial wall stronger. So if you have an artery in the brain, the artery is not going to rupture, causing a brain attack or stroke. Combination is important.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had heard that if you take too much of any supplement, and the numbers were much lower than what you're saying, basically you just pee it out.
Well, you do. You do. Every time you urinate, you've got, some people say you've got the most expensive urine in the world. But the retort to that is that you've got the most inexpensive life insurance policy in the world. Keep you alive.
The number of articles that I have read, however, that have said, oh, it's ridiculous to continue to take these supplements. You know, the evidence is there that it doesn't work. You know, really, it's the only time that you're going to take any kind of ingestible or, you know, needle-delivered substance. You want it to be a drug. And I have to admit, you know, I take a drug, I feel an immediate effect. I take a supplement, and I go, no difference. So how, like,
you may feel no different, but they're helpful. In other words, look, I spent all my life in the operating room being a surgeon. I'm not a naturopath. I was a surgeon who, in my practice, started to incorporate natural remedies, because things like, for instance, the North American population are deficient in magnesium. You get too low in magnesium, you get auricular fibrillation, or AFib. And I've cured many patients just by giving them excess magnesium, so that you don't get a immediate benefit for taking a prescription drug. But on the other, for instance, when you take vitamin C and lysine, it's not like taking Drano and getting your arms plugged, sinking. All of a sudden, the water is going away. It's a molecular process, so you don't know what's going on, but it's helpful to you. And if you take a picture of the back part of the retina and look at it before and after vitamin C, you don't have to be a doctor to see the difference. Major difference.
Isn't that something?
And remember, 100,000 people a year die of prescription medications. Another 700,000 go to the emergency for adverse reactions. You can walk into a health food store, nobody dies. There are no dead bodies from health food stores, natural remedies.
So what are some of your other bits of advice? So you talk about moving. Well, you know, obesity being one thing, you know, my understanding is that the best way to address that is watch what you put in your mouth.
Right, and you know, really one of the best rules of getting to 93 plus is that practice preventive medicine right at the start of your life and follow it right through. That's the first rule. The second rule is never, never, never forget rule number 1. You know.
Yeah, but what if you never followed rule number 1, and all of a sudden at 65 you're going, uh-oh, but I still want to get to 90.
Yeah.
What do we do then?
Well, it's never too late. It's never too late to get it. You know, if you're obese and you're not type 2 diabetes, you know, you may have another 20 years to live, and get your act together. You know, wise people do at the start of life what fools try at the end. And you know, you can. Medicine isn't like religion, where you can get down and say, I repent, and let me into the kingdom of heaven. It's a cruel business, and if you don't behave yourself, you're in a lot of trouble.
So there's a lot of talk these days about you got to do 10,000 steps a day.
Yes.
Is that important?
It is. It is. I think 10,000 steps a day is the most important exercise you do. I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said you got the 2 best doctors in your own body, your left leg and your right leg. Use them.
That's a good line.
And also have a little drink now and then.
Yes, you advocate wine.
No. I advocate alcohol in moderation.
Oh, I thought you focused in on red wine.
No. I was a sip surgeon for a while, so every night I have my little bit of rum and Diet Coke, and makes the evening news better, you know, when you have that.
Okay, I have to tell you, my reaction to you saying that you drink Diet Coke is like,
well,
really?
it doesn't have sugar. It doesn't have sugar in it.
No, but it's got other stuff.
Well, not as bad as sugar.
I don't know. I have trouble with Diet Coke.
You know, it was Sir William Osler who used to say, alcohol is for the elderly, what milk is for the young.
Why? Why is it so beneficial as we age?
Because there are 20 studies in the world that show that moderate drinkers live longer than teetotalers or alcoholics. And also, if you have moderate drinking, the HDL goes up. That's a good cholesterol. Little platelets in the body that stick together, they're part of the blood coagulation process, are less likely to stick together, producing a blood clot. And there's also a beneficial effect to being a little more relaxed.
Oh, this is so much fun. I don't want to stop, but I got to take another quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
Conversations That Matter is a not-for-profit program made possible thanks to the charitable support of the following and from viewers like you. Please visit conversationsthatmatter.tv and help us to continue to produce this program.
And when you're relaxed, you're a little bit more attractive to members of the opposite sex because you seem to advocate that, you make sure that you keep your intimate life active.
Well, I'm not as good as I used to be. But,
I'll take your word for that.
But getting back, say, to walking, if you jog, if you have sex 3 times a week, over the course of the year, you lose 7,500 calories.
7,500 calories
now,
by having sex 3 times a week.
Yeah. To lose 7,500 calories by jogging, you've got to jog 75 miles. Now, what's the choice?
It's like
I leave it to you.
Now you have to find somebody who wants to have sex with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's for sure.
Yeah. But there are other benefits as well. Are there not benefits from the intimacy that comes from being bonding with somebody?
Well, I've always told my patients, sex is 5% of a marriage. It's the first 5%. Very important point. You're right. A lot of good bonding there. And it's a good, it helps you sleep at night too.
Well, that brings up another topic. How important is sleep?
I think it's important to get up 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night. That's been shown that on an average, people who get that live longer. And
well, because it helps clear toxins out of your brain, doesn't it?
That's right. And after a hard day, I think that most people, we live in a world now where there's a huge amount of stress, and a good night's sleep is good for you. You bet.
What about weightlifting? As we age, how important is it that we continue to, hang on to the muscle mass that we have in our body?
Extremely important. Otherwise, you get sarcopenia. In other words, your muscles waste away. And I had polio when I was in my last year of medical school, so I've had to be exercised all my life. Right now, I have to give up tennis, but I have 2 weeks at my computer, and after I read a column or during, I'm doing this all the time. The most important thing is weightlifting and exercising by walking.
When you start to look at the consumption of red meat,
yes,
and the effect that it has on your health,
yes,
do you, when it comes to diet, what? People go, what? You want me to give up my steak? Like, come on.
There's very good evidence now that we all should be eating more vegetables, more fruits, and certainly less red meat, which has nitrites in it, which are carcinogenic to the large bowel. And there's a recent study that's come out that has shown that if you are constipated and not taking enough fiber, and that carcinogenic material is staying in contact with the inner lining of the large bowel, you're more likely to get cancer of the large bowel.
I so much want to be like you when I'm your age, and I plan on being there. But I got to take one quick break before we wrap up.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Conversations That Matter is a not-for-profit program made possible thanks to the charitable support of the following and from viewers like you. Please visit conversationsthatmatter.tv and help us to continue to produce this program.
What about fish? How important is fish as part of your overall diet?
I have fish about 2 or 3 times a week. Omega-3 fatty acids, and fish and fruits and vegetables with less meat. The most important thing I do every day is step on the scale. Every day I step, even though I'm not overweight.
You step on the scale every day. Why?
Day. Because I want to make sure I'm not gaining weight. I have patients come to me and say, well, I know when I'm gaining weight because my clothes get tight. Well, by that time, they've gained 20 or 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So that, no, the average stepping in the scale every day is more than likely the most important medical instrument relative to the MRI, the CAT scan, and all the other tests we do.
Okay, I got time for one or two other tips on how to get to your age and be smiling and beaming the way that you are.
Read my book.
Oh, that's a good plug, yeah. When I've told people that I was going to have you on the show on what some of the very basic and easy to follow suggestions are, they go, I like that guy.
Yeah, I think most of the feedback is positive. I've always believed in adding a little humor to medical practice because, you know, medicine is such a grim affair at times with cancer and heart disease and so forth. So in all the books I've written 9 now, there's always an element of a little bit of laughter because laughter never killed anyone.
Okay, that's the general public, but the medical community,
they don't like me. No, I'm a pariah for the medical community because I'm against cholesterol-lowering medication. I'm against most prescription medication. So why would they like me? And my life has been threatened about 3 times. Yeah. I carried a loaded revolver for 1 year of my life because of some things I'd written. No fun. No,
writing about medicine is a... so don't become a medical journalist because it could compromise your longevity.
Yes, life has been a little difficult at times because of controversial issues that I've talked about.
I have one last topic, depression.
Yes.
Especially in men as we age. How big of an issue is that, and what do we do about really addressing that?
It's a huge issue, but I think most people get depressed because they're not working hard enough. You know, they're not involved. They you know, what, freedom at 55, what are they talking about? That's absolutely ridiculous. Here I am at my age and I'm working 10 or 20 hours, 10, 12 hours a day, enjoying it. And I think depression is in part man-made.
So retirement's overrated.
Way overrated. I think that I always tell, I either want to be shot by a jealous lover when I'm 95 or maybe retire 10 years after I'm dead.
Thank you very much for doing this. Really appreciate you coming in and sharing your experiences and giving us some of those little tips and tricks that can help us all be as happy and healthy as you are at your age.
My great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.